What is going on, everybody? This is Coach Coleman, Jesse Coleman, and you're checking into Breakthrough Blueprint, the podcast, where we help you tap into your full potential. What's going on? Thanksgiving just passed. A lot of things that I'm grateful for, a lot of people that I'm grateful for, a lot of situations I've been through, I am grateful for too. It was a good Thanksgiving. Got to spend time with both of my daughters. With the fam. This Thanksgiving was so weird because we usually, eat Thanksgiving food. We usually eat a little bit early in the day. This year we ate later because different circumstances, so we didn't get to eat early. And I'm usually on plate three or something or plate four by the time we get 5, 6 o'clock. But we didn't start eating to then, so it was a different experience. But it was still cool. Got to hang out. You know, ate some good food. Of course, ate some desserts, paying for it at the gym. And then this past weekend, for you all who know, my Michigan Wolverines played Ohio State. And, it wasn't the outcome that we would have hoped for. It wasn't the outcome that I wanted. And it was still a great experience. Got to go. That's what, my our brother, sister bonding. Me and my sister got season tickets. So we're at all the games. And just having that opportunity to drive up with her. Some of the other people that got season tickets that sit next to us, they invited us, to their tailgates that they do with their group, and we end up, being a part of the group. So that is a great thing, a great situation of just networking with people, being good people. You connect with good people. They invite you into their tailgate, and then their tailgate turns into a big thing because they've been there with a different people, a group, and now they say, "Hey, you're a part of the family next season." We're there, we're tailgating, we're having a good time. That was a great thing. Again, the outcome wasn't what we wanted. The weather was crazy. That's another thing that I'm grateful for. That drive from Ann Arbor to Chicago that Saturday was ridiculous. Bunch of cars sliding off the road. It was a wild thing. And that was not my first time having to make that drive from Ann Arbor to Chicago in a snow blizzard. I had to do it. I think it was 2013 or 12 when we had that big blizzard. Yeah, it was all good. It was fun. Made it back, and it just made me think about some things of just that gratitude and being grateful that I was able to do that, spend that time with my sister. A lot of people take that stuff for granted. Having great relationships with people, I don't take any of those things for granted, and I'm very grateful for that. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everything went good. Hope you have a great holiday season. The topic for today is something I really wanted to get into, and it's talking about resistance. The moment you commit to something, resistance definitely shows up. If it doesn't matter what it is, if you're committed to a new goal, there's gonna be resistance. There's gonna be resistance when you are trying to get on the right path of fitness, business, relationships. You're going to get something's going to try to pull you off track, right? There's going to always be resistance. Look at it, and like, for you people that do the stock market, we have the support line and the resistance line. You're going to always hit resistance. And in the real estate market, when we talk about resistance is a signal for us. It's not a setback, it's a signal. We know that, hey, if the resistance is ABC stock, every time it hits the $70 mark, it bounces down. Okay, it's done it 3 times. That's the resistance. We know how we need to maneuver whenever it gets close to the resistance line. That again, resistance is a signal, it's not a setback. And one thing that me and my dog talk about, Jerome, that the universe is not there to block you. It's there to test you. Like the universe is going to test you about if you say this is what you want, Okay, we're gonna see what you really about. I'm gonna see what's up with you. And that's again, that's why it's when I started with, it's all about the commitment. When you commit to something, resistance is gonna show up. And another part of that is resistance is proof that you're growing. Go back to the stock market analogy where the only way you're going to hit resistance is if your stock is doing good. It's the growth. Now, one thing you got to remember, being comfortable never creates resistance. When we talk about the comfort zone, oh, you're in your comfort zone. We know it's not really comfortable. Yet you're not going to get too much resistance from that. You're only going to get resistance when you have growth. Now, when you want to do something like say, hey, my goal is this, I need to raise my standards. Remember, we always talked about your goals have to be in alignment with your standards. You raise your goal, and you say, these are my standards. Guess what's going to happen? Life is going to ask you the question, like, are you sure? Because again, if you say you want to get to this level, are you sure you're ready for the resistance? You sure you're ready for the steps that you need to take to get to that? And it's just again, it's about what you're looking to do, what you're looking to accomplish. That you're going to have resistance. What's the quote? Every level there's a new devil. That when it's time to level up, you're going to face some resistance. We talk about working out a lot. When you're going up on your bench or you're going heavier on your squat, you're going to hit resistance when you add that extra weight on there. Now, how are you going to show up and you're going to push through that? Now, here's a few things that when we talk about resistance, this is how resistance will show up in your life, right? It's going to start with distractions. Like, distractions are going to hit you with everything. Like, I'm telling you, if you're in your fitness goal, you know how many times you get those nothing but cakes or the crumble cookies where they got the discounts going on. You're driving down the street, a restaurant got 2 for 1. You're gonna hit distractions. Perfect example too with doing 75 hard last winter, and I'm finna start back this winter where in Chicago we get our weather is pretty crazy. You're sitting at home, you're warm, you're watching TV, you're reading a good book. You like, man, I really don't need to do this. And then the second part is your doubt gets louder. Remember, we always talk about that we are our own worst critics, that self talk we have, the limiting beliefs we have, that doubt will creep in. It will get louder and louder. The closer you get to leveling up, the more you try to improve on things, you're going to have that doubt for yourself. Next part of that is your old habits, bro. Old habits will try to sneak back in. And I will give a perfect example of that. That for you all who know, I think it was like April or May. I had a situation where I had to go to the hospital. I had an abnormal heart rhythm, and it was me drinking too many energy drinks. I was drinking too much, and it wasn't the fact that it was the fact that I was drinking one before I worked out, and then I was drinking another one on my way to handle business. So that's 400 milligrams in a day. And I stopped drinking those for a while, and then I see myself starting back to drink them. Granted, I've only been drinking them before I worked out. No other time only worked out yet. It's those old habits that's trying to sneak their way back into where I have to stay on top of things of like, hey, you only drink one when you're about to work out. And if you drink that while you're working out, you better make sure you work out hard. We got to make sure we don't let those old habits sneak back in. Here's one that a lot of us we deal with a lot where unexpected problems pop out of nowhere. When you are committed to something, things are gonna pop up out of nowhere. You know you're committed to going to the gym. Oh, guess what? Oh, I think I have a slow leak. Something wrong with my car. Oh, I have a meeting that pop up. Things are gonna pop up. Unexpected things are gonna pop up. Unexpected problems are going to pop up. We have to know those things that's going to happen. We got to be prepared for the unexpected things that we know what's going can go wrong will go wrong. We talk about that all the time, right? And then the last part of how resistance shows up is people start challenging your decision. You can tell somebody that, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. Why you want to do that? Ain't there a lot of different podcasts going on? What you going to talk about? You sure you want to do that? You know what? I'm finna get my real estate license. Oh, I saw on the news that the market is gonna crash and it's a bad time to do this. Hey, I'm thinking about going to the gym and getting in better shape. Why you want to do that for? You don't need to do that. Well, who you trying to think you're better than somebody? People will start challenging your decisions. People will start popping up out of nowhere, and we have to remember people project their stuff on us. Instead of them having to look into the mirror and say, I'm not following my goal, I'm not following my dream of starting a podcast, I'm not following my goal to get in better shape, I'm not following my goal to start a business. So instead of them looking in the mirror and addressing those things with their self, they'll 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 project that on you. They'll start challenging your decisions. We got to remember resistance is so strategic. Resistance knows all of our weaknesses and it's going to show up right when you are the most vulnerable. Resistance doesn't show up when you're strong and you're feeling good, you're doing good. And no, it's going to pop up when you least expect it, when you're most vulnerable, when you're weak. That's another key part of it, of just keeping it in the back of our mind and not dwelling on it, but keeping it in the back of our mind like, hey, I know I'm trying to go to the next level. There's going to be some things that's going to pop up. I just know this. And we talked about how the universe is so funny. Your environment will check your seriousness, right? A part of resistance is you being asked to prove your identity, where you're not just talking about it, you're actually living up to it. And one thing we have to remember, the test of resistance is going to come before the transformation. Every time we're about to have a transformation, we're going to hit that resistance, because that's going to be that test, as if this is something we really want to do. If we really want to make that change, if we really want to go to the next level, we're going to come across that resistance. Now we talk about the resistance. I know you're like, okay, cool, Jesse. I know the universe is going to test us. Resistance is going to pop up. People are going to pop up. But what are the things that I can do to be prepared for that? And this is just going to be me. Again, whenever I talk to you guys, I'm talking about what I'm doing or what I've done to be able to, hey, how am I making these breakthroughs? And this is going to sound so cliche, and you all listening going to be like, oh, here he go with this shit again. You have to be grounded in your why. We talk about the big why so much, but this is one of the reasons why the big why is so important, because you need to be grounded in that for when you need to make that push through resistance. Okay. After you do that, the second part is you got to create structure so resistance can't run your day, right? What is your structure? How do you operate? For us and the business side of things, like real estate or things like that, we call it time blocking. You have to have structure. When you have structure, resistance pop up. Okay, bam, this is happening, but I know what I need to do to move forward. I know what I know. I know my fallback. Right, this happening. I know what I'm going to fall back to, and we have to make sure we focus on the tiny wins, because those build momentums. It's that 1% rule. 1% better every day. I'm going to get 1% better. I'm going to get 1% better. You have a small victory. Hey, me and Jerome talk about this all the time. You're late for the gym. You only were able to get 20 to 30 minutes in. That 20-30 minutes, that compounds. That plays a big part in you getting better. You got to focus on those tiny adjustments. The whole, quantum leap. For my people that know about quantum leap, quantum leap. It's one small adjustment that's going to help you get to the next level. We got to focus on those tiny, tiny wins, and that's what's going to build the momentum. Think about baseball or football. If you don't hit a home run, what you want to do? You want to make it to first base. The next batter up, he want to advance the first baseman to second base. If the second baseman can get to third base, again, it's just those small wins, that small momentum to keep going, going, going. Here's one thing that I am, people talk about me about doing this, but I make commitments publicly. And the reason why is because I know that's going to hold me accountable. I know the whole saying is don't announce your moves before you make them. Yet for some of us that the way we operate is to I know I can bullshit around. I know I can procrastinate. So I need to make an announcement about what I'm working on because I know there's people that's gonna check in and say, "Hey, how you doing with that?" Perfect example: the book. The book's supposed to be released in February. People were checking in, like, "Hey, what's going on with the book? How far are you along?" That's the reason why I do that because again, it's going to create that accountability for me. And the last part is we talked about it, and I always say this: what can go wrong will go wrong. What can happen will happen. A deal fall apart, a relationship ends, God forbid, somebody passes away. We have to expect the resistance instead of being surprised by it. That is the big thing. And it's not you thinking negative. It's just you again setting yourself up that I know in the back of my mind there's gonna be some bullshit that's gonna happen. I can't be surprised about it. I have to be ready for it. And like, okay, when that happens, I can fall back to what we just talked about. How do we push through for our resistance? So we're grounded in our big why. We have structure. So things happen, we have the structure to fall back on. We focus on our tiny wins because I find tiny wins creates that momentum. For me, this is one of those things where I like to do. I like to commit publicly to things like, hey, I'm gonna say if I say I'm gonna do this, I know people are gonna hold me accountable to that. And then again, just having the expectation of that what can go wrong will go wrong. And it makes me think about a few times. So again, we talked about 75 hard, where there's been times where resistance definitely popped up on me. Remember how I said last winter in Chicago we had that week where we had negative degree weather. That was resistance popping up. Like, okay, what are you going to do about this? This weather is bad. Are you still going to do what you say you're going to do? Yet I had created those habits. I was consistent. The discipline showed up, and I still pushed through because I had my why was important. I was grounded in my big why. I accumulated a lot of those small victories by showing up until that point. I've committed to it publicly. Everybody know I'm doing 75 hard, and then I know, bro, this is Chicago. You're doing this in the winter. You got to be prepared for some bullshit. So that was the way I was able to push through that. And then, and on a personal level, like that's personal, but I would look at it as fitness. My goal of wanting to accomplish the things that I'm striving to accomplish, there's a lot of resistance that's showing up every other day, every other week. Like shit is showing up to where it's like you said you want to be better at this. You say you want to up your game in this. Okay, let's see how committed you are to doing that because I'm finna throw this at you. That's the universe. Oh, you say you want to be this? Okay, perfect. Here's some bullshit. Let's see if you maneuver through that. And knowing that and saying, okay, Jesse, if this is truly, the goal, if this is truly what you want to accomplish, how are you going to show up when that stuff happens? And then that was that push through. Like I'm grounded in my big why. We string small wins together every day. My spotters, they know what I'm working for. They know what I'm looking to do. So they're staying on top of that with me. And then that's just me showing up like, we got to keep going. Things go bad. You have a small situation with somebody. Okay, we got to keep going. We have to. And here's the thing, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with, and this is something I want you to think about for yourself. Like, what resistance showed up for you as soon as you made a commitment to something? We're getting to the end of the year. We're going into 2026. Everybody they're setting goals. Everybody is making business plans, personal plans, health plans. And as you're making those goals, I'm pretty sure that there's some resistance. There are some things that's popping up to you right now for those things that you said you want to do. So, what are some of those resistance? Again, let's do an audit of up until this point. What has been some of the resistance you've been facing when you made a decision that you're going to commit to something? Because those are a tail sign of what could possibly come up for you moving forward. And then you got to ask yourself: are you going to are you going to pass the test, or let's just be real? Let's keep it 100. Or are you going to fold under pressure? There's only two options. You're going to commit to the test, or you're going to fold under pressure. Which one are you going to do? Because if your goal is important to you, if that's something that you are committed to, if your big why is so big and it's connected to that, you have no choice but to pass the test. You're not going to fold under pressure. You're not going to fold under none of that shit. That's why we are big on talking about, when I talk to people, okay, why are you doing it? What's important to you about that? What would that do for you? Because when that resistance pops up, when that test popped up, that why is going to have to push you through that. All right. Again, this is a short one, short and sweet. And I just want to leave you with this, that listen, your breakthrough is hidden behind the resistance you're avoiding. Your breakthrough is hidden behind the resistance you are avoiding. We got to get uncomfortable. We got to get out of our comfort zone. Well, Jesse, I don't feel none of that resistance. I don't get tested. You're gonna get tested. Shit is gonna happen regardless if you get uncomfortable or not, because that is life. But what you're looking to accomplish, the breakthrough you want to have, it is hidden behind the resistance that you're avoiding. So again, short and sweet. I love you all. This is your boy, Coach Coleman, Jesse Coleman. Thanks for checking into another episode of Breakthrough Blueprint, the podcast where we help you tap into your full potential. See you all next week. Love you. Peace.